girl went back to Napoli because she missed the scenery, native dancers and a charming song. But wait a minute, something's wrong, 'cause now it's a mambo Italiano, hey mambo Italiano, go, go, go. You mix up a Siciliano, you calabrese do the mambo like a crazy with a hey mambo.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Freedom Friday Hour. I am Paul, and this is
Miss Kapow.
And today's date is
April 1st, 2016. And I want to say a special happy birthday to Miss Heather.
Heather Robles.
Her birthday is next week on the 4th.
It's on the 4th. That's awesome.
Yep.
That's awesome. Thank you, Heather, for being such an awesome friend and a sister in Christ.
Amen.
Happy birthday to you.
Amen.
All right. Today is April 1st, and you know it's April Fool's Day, that we don't participate in such nonsense, and neither do you, because you wouldn't be listening to Freedom Friday Radio if you did. But I thought it would be interesting to kind of go over some of the history and origin of April Fool's Day. You know, everything's occultic. Everything, you know, you live on Satan's prison planet. So Satan is everywhere, deeper than what you ever realized.
Yep.
The more your eyes are opened, you see, oh, look at the Illuminati. Oh, look at the globalist, the elitist. Oh, look what they're doing here. Look what they're doing there. And the more you see it, it doesn't just end with music and entertainment and television and politics and religion. It goes deep and deep and deep. And Ms. Kapow and I have had a resurgence of open eyes on things. Mm-hmm. And we, in fact, today we had lunch with an older gentleman at a restaurant, and he'd been around a long time. And as a kid, Franklin D. Roosevelt was the president. So we were talking about these things, and Franklin D. Roosevelt had served term after term after term, 16 years, and he died in his, the last year of office. But, Franklin D. Roosevelt was a Satanist. This guy was a pure-on Satan worshiper, totally sold out to Lucifer.
Yep, that's right.
This is the guy who brought in the Federal Reserve. This is the guy who, I think in part, bankrupted the United States of America in 1933. Mm-hmm. This is the guy who started Americans, at least Americans, of course everybody else has followed too, to be born as slaves. I don't want to start preaching here, but folks, we're born with the mark of the beast. Mm-hmm. It's not like some mark's going to come later on, some RFID chip. You are born that you cannot buy or sell. You are born in a system of slavery. There's only one way out of that, and that's a spiritual way out. You have to have a spiritual renovation of you, of your character and who you are. You're born of water and born of spirit. That's the only way. And you have to come through the real God, the creator God, through the sacrifice when he was down here on earth, made flesh, and was the final sacrifice. That's the only way out of this prison system. Even though we're down here. That's right. To be a sojourner. It is so evil. Anyway, I kind of digress talking about all this evil stuff, but Ms. Kapow and I have just been seeing stuff much deeper than we originally thought. I mean, it goes deep. I mean, look what's going on in America with this presidential election. Mm-hmm. Look at the evil behind all of it. Every single bit of it is just evil, and they're playing their hand, and it's in your face saying you are a slave and have nothing to do with what we're going to do. Yep. It's incredible. So April Fool's Day, April 1st, is exactly 13 weeks from January 1st. 13 weeks. So that is part of the witch's calendar. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So what I'm about to read to you, some of it is from witchology.com. This is from the witches themselves. April Fools to Walpurgisnacht. April Fool's Day or All Fool's Day is a traditional custom celebrated in many countries in the 1st of April. The day, as you know, is marked by hoaxes and other practical jokes being played on people with the aim of making fools of them. That sounds Christian, doesn't it?
Doesn't sound very biblical.
It doesn't sound Christ-like. Is it something we want to do? No. Now, the origin of the custom has been much disputed, and many theories have been suggested. Now, here's one I found interesting from witchology.com. It is a farcical commemoration of Christ being sent from Annas to Caiaphas, from Caiaphas to Pilate, from Pilate to Herod, and from Herod back again to Pilate. The crucifixion having taken place about the 1st of April.
Huh.
So one theory is that it's making a mockery of the whole trial and crucifixion of Christ.
Wow.
April Fool's Day. Interesting. We probably didn't learn that in school, did we?
No.
Now, what seems to be certain is that it is in some way or another, it's a relic of those once universal festivities held at the vernal equinox. The vernal equinox, Ms. Kapow, which beginning on Old New Year's Day, which was the 25th of March, and ended on the 1st of April. You understand, too, that we just passed Easter,
Yes.
the celebration of the goddess Ostar.
Mm-hmm.
And that is one of the witches' human sacrifice days.
Yep.
It's a high holy day.
That's right.
So let's put on our Easter bonnets. Yay! And go hunt eggs. Yay! Right?
Right.
Now, this view gains support from the fact that the exact counterpart of April Fooling is found to have been an immemorial custom in India. Can anything good come out of India spiritually?
Mm-mm.
The festival of the spring equinox is there termed the Feast of Holi. It's the last day of which is the 31st of March, upon which the chief amusement is the befooling of people by sending them on fruitless errands.
Jiminy cricket.
Isn't that amazing? And it goes on and on about how it may have appeared different things. There's a lot of superstitions about April Fool's Day.
Sure.
Yeah, that pranks are to be performed before noon, and if you do it afterwards, you bring bad luck on yourself. Also, that if you don't have a sense of humor, if you're the fool, then you bring bad luck to yourself. It's also said that one fooled by a pretty girl will later marry or at least become friends with her.
It's almost like OCD came from this.
It is, huh?
Uh-huh.
It's believed that marriage on April Fool's Day is inadvisable for a man because he'll become permanently ruled by his wife. You will get a Jezebelian wife if you marry on today.
But it says, but children that are born on this day will experience good luck in most matters except in gambling.
Wow. Which is no good
so
for
you can't play
Nevada.
lottery.
No. Or live here in Nevada.
Nevada, yeah.
If you're born today, you're going to be at the Eureka Casino, with your nose buried into a slot machine. Here's what I found interesting, too, that many media organizations have either unwittingly or deliberately propagated hoaxes on April Fool's Day. Amazing. Even normally serious news media consider April Fool's Day hoaxes fair game. Here's some, just a few well-known hoaxes that occurred. One was Alabama changes the value of pie. April 1998 newsletter of New Mexicans for Science and Reason contained an article claiming that the Alabama state legislature had voted to change the value of the mathematical constant pi to the biblical value of 3.0. So though it's funny, why, though, are they bringing in the biblical thing?
Yeah.
See what I mean? It's like the very first thing of this witchology.com says it was probably making fun of Christ,
right.
His crucifixion. You have this, and they're calling it a biblical value. What it does is the Bible is silly, right? Mm-hmm. How about this one, the BBC television program called Panorama? In 1957, they ran a hoax showing the Swiss people harvesting spaghetti from trees. And so a lot of people wanted spaghetti trees of their own. Yeah.
I think they do this just to see how gullible the American people will be.
I think it's a great experiment, isn't it? Because every time they did a hoax, people absolutely fell for it. Mm-hmm. There was a left-handed Whopper in 1998. Burger King ran an ad in the USA Today saying that people could get a Whopper for left-handed people whose condiments were designed to drip out the right side.
Wow. And Whopper is usually, the word Whopper is usually associated with the word lie. You know?
Yeah.
Oh, he told a big Whopper.
Wow. I like this one. The LA Weekly in 1985 printed an entire page of fake things to do on April Fool's Day, which hundreds of people were suckered in by.
Wow.
That's not even cool, though.
That was in 85.
Yeah. Let's see. There's so many of them. It's amazing. Here's one: the assassination of Bill Gates. Many Chinese and South Korean websites claim that CNN reported Bill Gates, the founder of Microsoft, was assassinated.
Wow.
It goes on and on and on. There's all kinds of crazy stuff. Radio hoaxes. Here's one that was bad. This was 98.1 KISS, a radio station in Chattanooga, Tennessee. They announced in 23 that rapper Eminem would be doing a free show in a discount store parking lot. Several police were needed to deal with traffic gridlock and enraged listeners who threatened to harm the DJs responsible. Both DJs were later jailed for creating a public nuisance.
Wow. That would be annoying, though.
It would be annoying. A radio station, K-Frog in San Francisco, claiming new corporate ownership, switched to a new format. The best 15 seconds of every song. So all morning, they mixed in bogus calls from perky listeners calling with compliments. This hoax can also be considered a parody of late 1990s media consolidations. So all they did was play the last 15 seconds of every song.
Wow.
And made it sound like people really dug it. So anyway, hey, there's a lot of them. There's television hoaxes. There's all kinds of stuff. So there's also worldwide traditions. So it's not just, it's all over the place. The tradition in France includes, I don't know how to pronounce this, Poisson d'Avril. I don't know. It literally means April's fish. So the hoaxer attempts to attach a paper fish to the victim's back without being noticed. You're being fished. It's in Iran. I didn't know people had a sense of humor in Iran, but apparently they play jokes on each other on April 3rd. Go figure. The 13th day of the Persian calendar, this day is called something, Outdoor 13. It's believed that people should go out on this date in order to escape the bad luck of the number 13.
Oh.
In Judaism, the traditional day of pranks, hoaxes, and mockery is Purim. However, modern Jews prefer to play pranks on April Fool's Day. Yeah. So anyway, that's today, Friday, April 1st. So give you a little occultic witchcraft background.
Can I read my scriptures now?
Uh-huh.
Revelations 20:15 says, "And whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire." Then Revelations 21:8 says, "The fearful, the unbelieving, and the abominable, and murderers, and whoremongers, and sorcerers, and idolaters, and all liars shall have their part in the lake which burns with fire and brimstone, which is the second death." Matthew 25:41. Then shall he say unto them on the left hand, "Depart from me, ye cursed, into everlasting fire, prepared for the devil and his angels." Matthew 25:46. "And these shall go away into everlasting punishment, but the righteous into life eternal." And then I want to read from Deuteronomy 28:47. It says, "Because thou serve not the Lord thy God with joyfulness and with gladness of heart for the abundance of all things, therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things, and he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until ye have destroyed thee."
Good stuff. Thank you. Amen. The Word of God is truth. Truth. Ms. Kapow, you remember a few months ago, very short time ago, there was 2 terrorists, a male and a female, in San Bernardino, California, and they killed a bunch of people, and they created a big mess there, right?
Yep.
And then, of course, the ensuing issues with Apple and the FBI wanting Apple to, to create software to break into the phones and all this stuff ensuing. Well, in between that time and now, we had, where we live here in Mesquite, the next little community over is Bunkerville.
Right.
And in Bunkerville, we have some ranchers, the Bundys. You remember the Bundys that they had a federal standoff a few years ago. The Bundys had gone to Oregon to protest some federal takeover of lands and things. And one member of their, Leroy Finnegan, one member of their party was shot dead, literally murdered by the FBI, literally murdered. And Cliven Bundy, the old man, he went to Oregon. He was arrested, and is in jail, literally murdered by the federal government. Right. So you would think that this story that I'm about to read you, that the FBI would be able to do something about a bunch of Muslim men, 17 of them, matter of fact, firing guns and shouting Allah Akbar right here in California in Apple Valley.
Which is really it's close to San Bernardino.
It's San Bernardino County. Yeah. In fact, Heather Robles lived there for 17 years. She doesn't live there now, thank God. But or she left 17 years ago, I should say. But yeah, so all this stuff is kind of close to home. So you would think that if the FBI would kill a rancher,
an American
rancher, unarmed American rancher, that would kill him, cold blood murder, and then throw another one in prison because they're disputing about grazing rights, that Muslims shouting Allah Akbar, terrorists in the making, you'd be able to do something there with the whole Patriot Act and all that other nonsense, right? But no. And so this is absolutely mind-boggling to me because this is not a hoax. Nothing you're going to hear on this show today is a hoax. It's not April Fool's Day. We don't do that. Yeah. This is true.
And these people are more of a terrorist than what happened in
Oregon.
Yep.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So this tells you where we're at as a society. So this is absolutely amazing. This is Apple Valley, California. The FBI on Tuesday continued to investigate an incident in which 17 men were detained for reportedly firing off hundreds of rounds of ammunition in a remote part of Apple Valley. Those who are not familiar with Apple Valley, San Bernardino County is the biggest county in California. Most of it's like desert. So they're out there in the desert shooting guns. San Bernardino County Sheriff's deputies, these are the same guys who took on the terrorists in San Bernardino, and an FBI agent, one FBI agent. How many agents were in Oregon with the Bundys?
Of them.
Yes. One FBI agent responded to the scene Sunday morning and detained the men, reportedly all of Middle Eastern descent, which means they're Muslims.
That's right.
Islamic terrorists that haven't committed any terror yet. What happened is that these guys were out camping in the Deep Creek Hot Springs area Sunday morning. A 9/11 caller reported hearing over 100 shots fired and seeing 5 to 7 men wearing turbans and shooting, quote-unquote, assault rifles, handguns, and shotguns. This is according to the Sheriff's Department statement. A helicopter located the men walking near a creek with backpacks and other items. Officials say the men were cooperative as they were detained and searched. Oh. Several handguns, a rifle, and a shotgun were found at the scene. But check this out. A records check showed that they were all purchased legally and registered, except for the rifle, which didn't have a serial number because it was purchased in parts. A police scanner, traffic, was monitored, and they posted this online, and they said a large group of subjects wearing turbans and chanting at the scene. It said they were up all night chanting Allah Akbar. And that was from an officer, is heard saying that on an audio recording. None of the hikers interviewed by sheriff investigators say they witnessed any shots being fired. Now, there's a photo, and we have it on our Facebook page, Fifth Hook Media, Facebook. It shows the arrest. It shows several men handcuffed at the scene, but their faces are blacked out. I don't know why, because they're being detained legally. All 17 men were eventually released. Just released because sheriff investigators say they had no outstanding warrants or criminal histories. There was no evidence found that a crime had been committed by any of the subjects who were detained, and they were released, a sheriff's spokeshole said. The FBI, remember, one agent went out there. The FBI will conduct further interviews with the men to determine if any crimes were committed. Well, of course no crimes. You already let them go. Nearby residents said they were concerned by the activity. I would imagine so. Alicio Rodriguez said, if there's something going on, wouldn't you want your local police or law enforcement to take care of it so that citizens like you or myself don't have to take it in their own hands? Yeah, you could read between the lines what that guy is saying. He said, I'm not going to let my wife or my children be raped and murdered by these guys. I'm not going to be shot by these guys. Okay. Religious malfeasance. That's the name of the show today. We're talking about a bunch of religious malfeasance. Malfeasance means mal, evil, fiance, activity. Evil activity. Religious malfeasance. All right? Ms. Kapow, you ever heard of Jerusalem syndrome?
No.
Apparently, it's a mental disease.
Really?
Yes. And it goes right with what we're talking about, religious malfeasance. The evil activity of religion. And we're going to talk about the mental illness of Jerusalem syndrome right after these commercial break.
All right.
I just finished reading the ebook, Demons in My Marriage Bed, a true story of spiritual warfare, written by Paul and Linda Villanueva, and I highly recommend it to all Kingdom Against Powers of Wickedness radio listeners. This book is about saving your marriage from destruction. It is a true and vivid account about adultery, witchcraft, curses, spells, and evil spirits, all attempting to dismantle and annihilate lives. This is an excellent training manual for building a stronger marriage by exposing the tactics your enemies use against you. Ultimately, the book glorifies the transformational power of God through submission to the Lord Jesus Christ, and that is a good thing. Demons in My Marriage Bed is priced at $2.99 and is available as an ebook from all online digital retailers such as Amazon.com and Apple iBooks. Other formats for reading on your computer or printing out the book are available at fifthhookmedia.com. That is FIFTHOOK media.com. Demons in My Marriage Bed, a true story of spiritual warfare, changed the way my spouse and I conduct spiritual battle and has increased our alertness level to the tactics of Satan. Please do not be fooled that such things cannot happen to you. Rather, get prepared and become the spiritual warrior needed to overcome in these perilous times in which we all live. God bless you all.
All right, we're back. Okay, Jerusalem syndrome is the madness that grips foreigners on the streets of the holy city.
It's like they get caught up in the emotion of what's happening. Right?
Yes, they get all crazy about stuff. It is a real syndrome. I'm not kidding you. Psychologists have really termed it. An Irish school teacher who came to Jerusalem hospital, was convinced she was about to give birth to the baby Jesus, when in fact she wasn't even pregnant.
Wow.
Then a Canadian tourist who believed he was the biblical strongman Samson, he tried to tear down stone blocks out of the Wailing Wall. There was an Austrian man who flew into a rage in his hotel kitchen when staff refused to prepare the Last Supper for him.
See, these are all demons that have influenced these people.
Yeah, this is demonic.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what's taking over their mental faculties.
This is a demon of religiosity, at least. It makes people crazy. It's religious malfeasance. There are just a few examples of what has come to be known as Jerusalem syndrome. It's a well-documented phenomenon where foreign visitors suffer psychotic delusions that they are figures from the Bible or harbingers of the end days. That's sad, huh?
Yeah, and these spirits don't go away.
No. They're still there. Israel's health ministry records around 50 cases a year where tourist delusions are so strong that police or mental health professionals are forced to intervene. Many more incidents go undocumented on the streets of Jerusalem's old city. Can you imagine? You go there with your church, you're on vacation, you go there and all of a sudden, and then, Mrs. Sister Chedester
Think she's Mary Magdalene.
Yeah, starts going crazy on you and gets hospitalized.
Well,
it's almost like they get like a demonic influence there. Because they're saying more than likely these people are mentally ill before they get there, but you really don't know.
Right.
The city's hospitals are expecting fresh cases as tourists flock to Jerusalem for the Easter weekend. This was last week. Doctors are preparing now familiar routines of alerting foreign embassies that one of their citizens believes he is John the Baptist or King Solomon. Can you imagine that? They said that evidence of Jerusalem syndrome dates back to medieval times, where observers then, throughout the centuries, have noted the air of madness that seems to hang over the city. You know what? I have to keep, harping on this, but in AD 70, God used the Romans to end that contract.
That's right.
To end that old covenant with Israel. And God used the Romans to literally destroy
totally
Jerusalem.
Flatten it.
Yeah, it didn't even look the same. Like Jesus says, no stone would be left upon another. That literally happened. They burned the temple to extract the gold from between the rocks.
Right.
It was amazing. So I think it's all part of that curse. It's a cursed place. Woo, I know I just stepped on a whole bunch of titty toes. But it's a cursed place. It's full of blood. It's full of the occult. It's full of Kabbalah and witchcraft.
Yeah, so how can it be blessed or holy?
And then now you're serving another Cheez-Its. You're going there doing a whole Cheez-Its thing. Of course you're going to get demon-possessed. A British traveler, an Anglican vicar, wrote in around 1870, here's what he said, "It is an odd fact that many Americans who arrive at Jerusalem are either lunatics or lose their minds thereafter." Wow.
I wonder what they're like afterwards.
I know.
You know what I mean?
It makes you wonder, all these churches and ministries and, that's the big thing. Let's go to Jerusalem. And, of course, we'll go for free if all of you join with the Kapow radio show to go to Jerusalem. And I get 1,000 people to go. Well, I get to go for free and go on the cruise ship and all this stuff. Oh, but that has nothing to do with it. I just want to I want to take you guys to where Paul preached and explain to you, the Athenian law. Right? Come on. You guys know what I'm talking about. You've been in church. You've heard all these ministries do this stuff. Come with us to the Holy Land and have a cedar supper. Modern psychiatrists describe the sufferer's delusions as highly theatrical and very public. They will often rip hotel bed sheets into makeshift togas. They'll deliver impromptu sermons in front of holy sites. They go wailing throughout the streets.
I suppose the hotels start raising their prices to cover for that.
Because all the nut buckets. There was a study, and the affliction, now check this out, has been recorded among Jews and Christians, but not Muslims.
No, they just lop people's heads off.
Well, Muslims are already crazy. How could they act any crazier? Yeah. Chopping people's heads off, raping people, blowing themselves up with dynamite on their... Oh no, they're totally cool. They don't act nuts at all. Oh, man. The majority of those who were hospitalized suffered mental problems in their own countries, the study showed, and they came to Jerusalem deliberately on what they saw as a mission from God. They are mostly harmless, but occasionally suffer. Sometimes they become violent. So, Dr. Kalian, I guess the guy who did this study, described a British man who interpreted the ash cloud thrown over Europe by the 2011 eruption of an Icelandic volcano as a sign that the world was coming to an end. So once the cloud cleared and air travel resumed, he flew to Jerusalem and headed to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, where Christians believe Jesus was crucified and buried, which is nonsense, as you all know. In his own mind, the plan was clear. He would enter the church and be killed by Satan.
Wow.
Triggering the beginning of Armageddon. Okay, one last thing. They say the most contentious point of the debate among scholars of Jerusalem syndrome is what one group of doctors has called type 3 cases. This is these cases involve people with no history of mental illness who become overwhelmed by the city's religiosity and they temporarily lose their minds.
Mm.
They say that the third type of Jerusalem syndrome is perhaps the most fascinating, and this is by a psychiatrist, because he says they recorded 42 cases of people who arrived in Jerusalem as regular tourists. They suffered severe psychotic episodes while there and then recovered completely after leaving the city.
Oh, okay.
Of the 42 individuals, 40 were from what doctors described as ultra-religious Protestant families.
Mm.
Wow. So it's weird,
That's
isn't
interesting.
it? Yeah. Religious malfeasance, for sure. What else happened over the Easter Star pagan goddess worship weekend? Marauding parents in an Easter egg hunt rampage. They were out of control adults. They push children to the ground, they steal their buckets, and they leave one 4-year-old bloody at a chaotic
Isn't that crazy?
event. Yeah. I don't know if this was the Pez company, the ones that make the Pez candy, P-E-Z.
Yeah. I know. I wasn't sure about that either.
I think it is. Apparently, they do free Easter egg hunts every year, and they advertise this. But there was a whole lot more people coming out than they expected. But children were trampled.
Well, it should be been for just children, not adults.
It's common sense. But these are pigs, man.
Yeah.
These are
free. Okay.
These are devolved humans. These are animals, man, and I don't mean disrespect for an animal, because animals are cute. But these are like the low base form of humanoids.
Yeah.
That's what society's become. It's a haunted planet. It's a demon possessed planet is what it's become, and it's only going to get worse until the end.
Yeah, and it's no different than the Jerusalem syndrome we just read about.
It isn't.
It's madness.
Yes, it's madness. It's demonic chaos. Apparently, there was 1,000 people. They stormed the Pez Center field, and children were trampled.
Oh.
9,000 eggs were laid out on 3 different age-bracketed sections. But when the egg hunt started, parents stormed the field, started stealing eggs.
Wow.
One 4-year-old kid was left bloody. Many toddlers pushed to the mud. Now, not all the parents were bad, because some of these parents are reporting this. So they weren't all crazy parents there, but there was enough of them.
Enough of them to cause damage, yeah.
And this was in the beautiful Orange, Connecticut, the Pez Center or company in Orange, Connecticut. Yeah, and I guess these adults went on a rampage. They were stealing buckets. They were taking the eggs from the kids. A horrified parent described the scene as an angry mob of chaos, with not one toddler hunting for eggs among the crowds of adults. Come on, what kind of pig are you?
Yeah.
Seriously. What kind of pig? You want to talk about other stupid people?
Sure.
I have never listened to this guy at all. I've never heard any of his radio shows. I know him by name, and I know he's famous, but I don't really like famous people, because I think people who get a lot of fame get there for a reason. They have an agenda, and someone gives them the fame to talk about that agenda. You know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about Satan. I'm talking about Satan, the god of this world, bringing people up in fame and fortune to spread his agenda.
Mm-hmm.
Glenn Beck, he's a well-known radio host, Glenn Beck, who claims he's a Christian. This man wouldn't know Christ if Christ walked into his bedroom and ate his toast. Yeah, this guy's an idiot. And I've never listened to his shows or anything like that, but I just reading the stuff he says, it's not Christian. The guy's a fool.
Yep.
He is what you call religious malfeasance.
That's right.
He's practicing it. He's doing it. He is religious malfeasance. Mm-hmm. Evil activity in the name of religion. Apparently, a while back, he said that a true Christian could not support Donald Trump. And believe me, what I'm about to talk about has nothing to do with politics. I don't care about Trump or Cruz. I'm talking about Glenn Beck using religion for an evil purpose. So he says you can't be a true Christian and follow Donald Trump, which is right there shows you he's not a Christian.
I know.
You can't say stupid stuff like that in the name of God.
Mm-hmm.
It's just stupid. He was chastened by negative public reaction to that recent comment. That real Christians, he said, don't support Donald Trump.
Yeah, so now he's backpedaling. Well, I didn't really mean that.
Yes, yes. He said all throughout the South, the evangelicals are not listening to their God. That's what he said. Now he's backpedaling. He's like, because he's getting criticism by other religious fools.
Exactly.
Now he's claiming, here's the new claim, that Senator Ted Cruz, whom he has endorsed for president, was, quote unquote, was anointed for this time.
Wow.
See, that kind of language there is devil talk.
Mm-hmm.
That's Luciferian. Someone's anointed for this time?
Yeah.
Really? A politician is anointed for this time?
It's a Paulian language.
It is a Paulian language. It absolutely is a Paulian language. It's one of the destroyer. That's not right. So right there, I can tell you, Glenn Beck isn't somebody worth listening to as a Christian. If you want to listen to a show for politics or something, go ahead. I think he's an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's an idiot. On Friday, less than 24 hours after he proclaimed on his television program, see, that's how much I know. It's a television program. I thought he was a radio guy. That no real Christian says, I want that guy, Donald Trump. Beck issued an apology in an article posted on his website. He said he'd like to apologize for any of the comments he made that offended anyone's religious sensibilities or implied that I thought you weren't good Christians. Apparently what he said is he tried to blame Breitbart News for misquoting him. However, Breitbart News has quote after quote saying what he said. Right? Beck never denied the accuracy of the quotes about real Christians and Donald Trump, attributed him by various media outlets. Mm-hmm. Right? And it goes on because that's what he said. So instead of disputing the quotes, he tries to attack Breitbart News.
Yeah,
right?
Of course,
so
yeah.
He's just one of these guys. But here's what concerned me, he says. What concerned me was the way this article attempts to characterize what I said and believed. That I had to step back and rewatch the videos and listen to my comments that I made at campaign rallies over the weekend and make sure that I hadn't said what the article, the comments simply imply. And he went on to explain he believes, here's what he says. I believe evangelicals and Christians and Jews and Muslims are all in this together. Really? Well, I'll tell you what, Glenn. Mm-hmm. I am not with Jews and Muslims. Mm-mm. I'm not even with Christendom. I follow one God.
That's right.
And those who follow that God under real biblical principles, that is my church. That's my called out ones.
That's right.
The people that are listening to the Kapow radio show. I don't lie just because I'm lying to you just because you say you're a Christian or a Jew or a Muslim. Mm-hmm. They serve other gods. But Glenn says we're all in this together, that we all have access to God's
inspiration.
Yeah. Really? The Muslims have access to God's inspiration. And so does Kabbalist Jews.
He's talking about the one world religion God. that he serves.
What he says, he goes, that's all I'm asking for. On this Easter weekend, so he celebrates the goddess of star, that you would take the time and ask for God's inspiration. Oh, I did. And that's why I'm doing this little blurb on you on my little stupid show, so that people could be warned that you are an idiot, Glenn.
Yes.
An idiot. Okay. You know what? Hillary Clinton, whatever you want to say about Hillary Clinton, she has come out and said that if she's elected president, she would open up the secrets of Area 51.
Really?
UFOs.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's big of her.
Yeah. She says as long as it doesn't conflict with national security.
And of course it will, so then she won't open it.
Of course it will. You think the Air Force and the military is going to go, oh, yeah, we've been hiding and denying this for years until, recently we had to admit that we do have a secret base out here. But you know what? There is no national security here. There's no, there's no reason, Hill Dog. Just
Plus,
let it
anything
out.
that comes out of her mouth, is a lie. So
here's what I love about that.
Witchy.
That if she becomes president, unless it's an issue of national security, she'll release all the documents about Area 51 and their experiments with aliens and UFOs and whatever. But it's coming from the same woman who wouldn't release her emails.
That's what I'm saying. Whatever comes out of her mouth, she's lying.
That's amazing. So anyway, I don't know.
And we're going to believe her.
Yeah. I don't know if she said that because she was trying to gain the religion of ufologists and to get their vote. Mm-hmm. The cool people, the young people. I don't know, or she's just trying to get all the crazy. I don't know why she would say that.
Yeah.
But she was on, I think, the Kimmel show when she said that she would release that. I don't know.
Yeah, interesting.
I don't know. I think that's one good reason to vote for, because then you'll know if there's little gray aliens here in Nevada. I think they are. I saw them at Walmart.
They're always at Walmart.
Yeah. They pop out of the toy section. They go, and they go, you scared me. You're an alien. So I saw one the other day. Had no teeth.
Yeah.
No teeth.
That's not good.
I know. Frightening. Okay, here's another religion. Technology, right? Religious Malfeasance. Some people have made a god out of their technology.
Oh, yes, most definitely. Those that can't live without it.
Mm-hmm. Those that can't live without it. Well, walking while texting could soon result in jail time.
Wow. They can't even... People that use their phones in their cars, they can't even enforce that law.
No. You also have the San Bernardino Sheriff's Office and a FBI agent detaining 17 Muslims wearing, I don't know what they wear, burqas, heads, I don't know what that is. And they're yelling Allah Akbar, and they're shooting rifles and handguns, and you can't do anything about it.
And they're not considered terrorists.
No.
Or doing terrorist
or you can't
acts.
even detain them long enough to figure out who these guys are. And you just let them go. Well, they didn't have warrants. The guns are registered. They didn't have warrants. But you're going to enforce a law where people are walking and texting. Mm-hmm. It'll never happen.
No, it won't.
That whole San Bernardino thing it breaks me. Yeah, because look, I'm not there, but I can speculate what happened. The sheriff's office said, "Oh, we can't just detain they didn't commit a crime, and we don't have how about just like detaining them for disturbing the peace? I mean, people called 9/11 because they were afraid.
Yeah,
and right there, it disturbs their peace. Mm-hmm. But I guarantee
isn't that what terrorists do?
Yes. And I guarantee you, though, that the sheriff's office or the county attorney, some muckety-mucks, got together and said, we can't do that because they're Musloids. And Musloids, they'll get offended. And then we'll have Karen all over us and and they're scared. If there were a bunch of white ranchers, hey, we'll throw them in jail.
Or kill one of them.
Yeah, we'll just kill one of them. We'll just assassinate them.
Yep.
I think I've been living in Nevada too long. I have.
You have the Nevada syndrome.
I have the Nevada syndrome. You get here and you just get crazy. I'm too close to Area 51.
You're scudding, dearie.
I know. You know what it is? It's all the fallout from the nuclear testing they used to do in the 50s here.
That's right.
You know, I go out in my backyard. I go, I try to like pull a weed. Mm-hmm. I get some of that.
Radiation.
It gets up in my sinuses. I get crazy. Ask anyone.
They can just ask me.
Miss Kapow.
Just teasing.
You know, I don't know if the listeners know that at one time I got on my knees. I said, Lord, give me patience.
And then I came along.
It was right there. Miss Kapow came in my life. And I said, Lord, make me humble. Keep me humble. He said,
True story.
Distracted walkers are everywhere these days, Miss Kapow. Take a stroll along any busy street and you'll find them. They're checking their phones, they're sending texts, they're making a call, they're listening to music, sometimes all at the same time, or at least it seems that way. Oftentimes you'll see people walking down a busy intersection listening to the Kapow radio show on the Spreaker app, which is free. Or sometimes you will see people with their headphones on, totally unaware, crossing a busy street, and they're listening to Kapow radio show on the free podcast app on iTunes.
You just did a commercial.
I did. That was totally Illuminati. I did a story. I did the whole Charlie Rose thing. I did a whole story and then threw in the Kapow radio show app and that it's free and that you can listen to it. Yeah. Oh, and there's people walking down the street distracted because of this, because they realized that they could just go to, I don't know, fifthhookmedia.com and download this free Spreaker app. It's the easiest, best way to listen to the shows. It's all there. It's all lined up, all 400, 500 of them. And so they're distracted. So if they're not bumping into you because they're listening to Kapow, they're bumping into somebody else. And they're going, oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. I was just listening to Brother Kapow and Sister Kapow, and it was so interesting. I'm sorry I ran into you and bumped you. Mm-hmm. Or sometimes they're causing others to leap out of the way to avoid a collision of limbs. Even worse, distracted walkers sometimes step into the road without a care in the world, unaware there's a bus coming right at them.
Hey, we've seen videos where people are doing that,
yes,
and a car has hit them.
Yes. And in all cases, none of them were listening to Kapow radio show. They weren't that, because they were distracted listening to Kapow radio show, but they still had their wits about them because, well, I think it's scientists have proven. There's been research. Scientific research has shown that people that listen to the Kapow radio show network, all the hosts network, are more intelligent than their reptilian counterparts.
That's what I hear.
Because the reptilian counterparts are like what? Four-eyed, Gila monster, freestanding reptilians. Right. They're from outer space. But you're better looking and you're smarter. So you're not going to run it. You're not going to walk into a bus.
No.
You're just digging the Kapow vibe as you're walking down, the DC Mall or whatever you're doing. You sing it. Yeah. Do a street. Yeah. Get into it. Just start rapping it, man. Okay. With so many smartphone owners these days apparently unable to resist the unutterable delights of their magical handheld computer, distracted walking incidents are on the rise. Indeed, for New Jersey Assemblywoman Pamela Lampitt. I got a lot of stuff I can say about Pamela.
Lampitt.
Hey, Lampitt. What's a lampitt? I don't know. You tell me. Lampitt. For Pamela Lampitt, the issue has now become so serious that she just has to protect everybody. She just has to protect you from yourself.
It's her maternal instincts.
It's probably her maternal socialist demagoguery instincts.
Mm-hmm. That's why they named Lampitt.
Yeah.
Remember, what's his name? That Aleister Crowley?
Yeah.
His spirit guide was named Lamb.
Oh, yeah, Lam.
And they're going to fall into the pit. Henceforth, Lampitt.
I think that is very, that's very discerning of you. Somebody should write that down because this day, it's.
Well, when it comes to pass, I would have said, prophetic word here.
Somebody on YouTube is going to put this all together, and they're like, "Well, that's amazing." And then hopefully, I heard Miss Kapow say that years ago about Lampitt. Well, she's proposing a law that would see perpetrators fined $50.
Oh, wow.
That's an expensive text, my friend. Or even thrown into the slammer for up to 15 days. Can you imagine it? What are you here for?
The jail's already overcrowded.
I know. They're releasing them anyway for all misdemeanor crimes. You know, what are you here for? Well, I was texting my wife saying I'd be late because my car broke down and, you know, and I just got robbed and now I'm in jail. But I got Middle Eastern guys in Southern California shooting guns, yelling Allah Akbar, scaring the heck out of the residents. Mm-hmm. We can't. There's nothing we can really. I don't know. I got one FBI guy interviewing him to see if there was a crime.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are jackbutts.
Jackbutts. That's funny.
Bunch of gumshoes. Okay. An individual crossing the road distracted by their smartphone presents just as much danger to motorists, says Lampitt, as someone jaywalking. And they should be held, dang it. They should be held responsible at minimum to the same penalty, dang it. I'm a Lampitt. Lampitt said that a law would make distracted walkers think twice.
Oh, yeah.
That's going to do it. I know. You know, I don't do that. I don't text and walk because I'm not that coordinated. But I think if I did, I would never even think about, there's a law.
A Lampitt law.
There's a Lampitt law. I could have to pay $50 and get thrown into slammer.
15 days.
Yeah.
If not 14.
If not 14 for good behavior.
Uh-huh.
She says this law would make distracted walkers think twice about losing themselves in the phones and hopefully persuade them to keep an eye on their surroundings instead.
And I'm sure she never does this.
No. Apparently there was a study at the end of last year by the American Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons, or better known, you guys probably know it as the AAOS. Mm-hmm. Cricket. Well, these AAOSs, these asses, the AAOSs, Lampitt asses showed that 78% of American adults now regard distracted walking as a serious issue.
It's a disease.
78% of American adults. Well, who's the rest of these people walking around looking at their phones? Interesting. While 74% of the respondents said other people are usually or always walking while distracted, only 29% actually admitted to engaging in the practice themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Today, the dangers of the they call it digital dead walker.
DDW.
You got the DDW syndrome. You're a digital dead walker. Well, the AAOS, the asses said digital dead walkers are growing with more and more pedestrians falling down stairs. They're tripping over curbs. They're bumping into other walkers. They're stepping onto traffic. They're causing a rising number of injuries from scrapes and bruises to sprains and fractures, the AAOS spokeswoman Ellen Hillebrand said. This is sad. I mean, it's a sad. Mm-hmm. It's a sad commentary of our society.
Yeah, it is.
Really, that so many people are running into walls because they're looking down,
having concussions.
That's incredible. Now, to reduce the chances of a nasty accident happening, the AAOS suggests keeping music at a volume where you can still hear the noise or traffic.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good suggestion. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And to look up, not down, especially when stepping off into curbs or in the middle of, traffic. Or, you know what? When you're walking or approaching on stairs or escalators, it's good to look up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the suggestion.
Or cliffs. Remember that guy that fell off a cliff?
Yes. Well, I hope that what they do is they put out a pamphlet of some sort so that people could read the brochure, the pamphlet, and they'll go, this is what I need to do.
Yeah, while they're walking. Because it'll be on their iPhone.
It'll be digitized on iPhone. That's right. They can put out a pamphlet.
Yeah.
And just all you have to do is, hit the link. Now, you can read about the dangers of reading and walking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's the lamb pit brochure.
The lamb pit, yes. Well, you know what? That could be it could be an adjective too. Well, look at that lady. She just did a lamb pit. Wow, that's gotta hurt. Okay, you know what, Ms. Kapow? You're highly offensive.
Sorry.
A lot of people are shutting us down. They're like, I'm not listening to this pseudo news show anymore with a spiritual view. I don't care what they say. They're not spiritual. They said Glenn Beck was a foolhardy, and I don't think so. You know, it's like that. So I don't have anything else to add. I think I've done enough damage.
Eat peanut butter cookies.
I like that. And give us a chow so I can go find a peanut butter cookie.
Ciao, baby.
Please hang up and try again.
These signs will follow those who believe. In my name, they will cast out demons. They will speak with new tongues. They will take up serpents, and if they drink anything deadly, it will by no means hurt them. They will lay hands on the sick, and they will recover.